Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So a couple days actually, as soon as these Black Widow Clairvoyant crystals came back, I happened to pop a few, and obviously I did it off screen because I haven't uploaded any of that, but I did manage to pull this Black Widow Clairvoyant as a 6-star this time from featured Cavalier crystals, and yeah, we in fact opened only like 3 of them. So I pretty much immediately took her up to rank 2. As we can see in this video, I'm like leveling her up, and I'm also going to be ranking her up. Before we get there, I do need a couple more of the Mystic class tier 4 catalysts. So I'm going to pop like 10, I believe. We get one here. So instead of popping another 10, I decided to pop open some more of these fragment crystals because we have like a huge chunk of those, and in this way at least I will not kind of accumulate huge amounts of other class catalysts that I might be getting into like my expiring territory. So I think this is a perfect way to kind of like get that last one catalyst you need for something, because at least at the worst you pretty much form one of each before you form the one that you need, and that means you don't get too many stuck in your overflow. But either way, back to Black Widow Clairvoyant. Obviously that was kind of like an extremely big surprise. I would have uploaded this video like a couple days ago, but as I keep saying, I wasn't feeling too well. I was struggling a bit with illness and stuff like that. So I finally got to the point where I can actually voice something over decently. And yeah, so we are leveling her right up to rank 2. Black Widow is like an excellent 6-star to pull because her signature ability isn't all that important. Obviously, it's important for prestige, but when it comes to actual usability of this character, she definitely does not need it too much. Now, I have spoken about Black Widow fair amount before in my videos, and she is one of the better Mystic champions currently in the game, and she's also a Mystic champion that is really suicide friendly, and that is not too common. That is another reason why I like Black Widow Clairvoyant so much, because she really likes suicides, even maybe more so than she does Mystic Dispersion. Obviously, Mystic Dispersion does help her quite a bit as well, but Suicide Mastery is one of the bigger kind of strengths of Black Widow Clairvoyant, because unfortunately she isn't the biggest damage dealing champion. Therefore, we are checking out a couple of fights in the Realm of Legends right here. So first fight is going to be against the Winter Soldier, where there are no immunities involved. Therefore, we can't build up any more of these charges Clairvoyant has. I don't even know the name of those charges. But I have spoken quite a bit about how she works. So basically she can switch in between being bleed, poison, or incinerate immune, and whichever immunity you are using, you are also able to inflict those debuffs of the same nature. Unfortunately, those debuffs don't really do a whole lot of damage, but they kind of give new different abilities to your special 2, and then you can whether heal or power steal or basically deal more damage when you're in incinerate mode. So there are quite a lot of things going on with Black Widow Clairvoyant, and she's definitely versatile, and that fact that she can heal off her level 2s can make her extremely suicide friendly, as well as the fact that she can completely shut off those poison and bleed debuffs. And yeah, all in all, I think she's definitely an awesome addition to Mystic class. I'm extremely happy to have pulled her as a 6-star, because I was about to take up my 5-star to rank 5. My 5-star was at rank 3 already, and she was going to probably be my next champion that I take up. And now I don't have to. She can stay at rank 3, and I'm having a 6-star, so that worked out kind of perfectly. And that means I can probably take up my Symbiote Supreme in near future. But for now, it's about Black Widow Clairvoyant. My Mystic champion roster is definitely getting quite big of a boost recently, so that's quite amazing. And here we can see that we are able to generate power quicker because of the fact that Captain Marvel is immune to poison. So when we are on Poison Curse, we can drop a heavy attack that gives us a chunk of power. Then we finish a combo with Light, switch to Incinerate, and finish off the fight. So Captain Marvel was 121 hits, which still is not the smallest amount of hits, but we have to remember that we are throwing excess amounts of level 2s, and level 2s are 8 hits in themselves, I think, 8 or 9 hits. So that hit counter actually kind of jumps up quite quickly, just because she's Mystic, just because she has these inbuilt power gain mechanics. and you spam more of those multi-hit level 2s, and that hit counter isn't really truly reflective to the time spent in the fight, I would say. And now we're going to check out a couple of random fights in Variant 1, I believe, and a few in Act 6 as well. So first fight here is against Groot, and obviously against Groot we're going to be having extremely good time because we can not only nullify a bunch of his buffs and get a lot of power, we obviously also have like that buff immunity that we can place without level 2, and all in all it's just quite crazy how quickly she can get down all of these stacked opponents if they have natural buffs that we can nullify, feed our Mystic Dispersion, get level 2s, spam those up, and so on and so forth. So next fight here is going to be Heimdall, and Heimdall is quite similar case. You can say he has masochism, but every time we trigger masochism we also get trigger Mystic Dispersion, which is also kind of neat. And also Heimdall by nature get these armor up buffs every time we kind of like land a 5 combo, I think, or maybe a six hits, or however many are needed. Now I do make a mistake here, dropped my level 2 in his block. That kind of stunk a bit, but it's not the biggest deal. We managed to parry before he actually landed a hit on us, and we can definitely see that our power is going up quite quickly. We're dealing decent amount of damage. Obviously we also have class advantage in this matchup, but here we're going for another level 2, and whilst we are on this incinerate mode we are actually dealing quite decent amount of damage. Still, she's definitely by far not the hardest hitting champion in the game, but that's not why she is so awesome. And I'm once again definitely excited to have a Mystic character that runs perfectly with Suicide Masteries. And also you don't really need any synergies for her for most part. Now there are a couple that definitely do help, but in general you just don't really need or rely on synergies when you are playing Black Widow Clairvoyant. There's some nice to have ones, but she's a champion that you can just casually drop in your team without needing a lot of support, without needing any kind of like specific mastery setup. Obviously she is better with suicides than without though. And somebody asked me today, who do I think is a better champion, Dr. Doom or Black Widow Clairvoyant? And I actually had to think about it for quite a bit. And I'll be absolutely honest, like if there are no Suicide Masteries involved, I 100% prefer using Dr. Doom, and I think Dr. Doom slightly out edges Black Widow Clairvoyant. I absolutely love Black Widow Clairvoyant as well, but I think the way Dr. Doom does his power control and builds his damage is just so new and innovative and impressive. And Clairvoyant, as impressive she is, sometimes does struggle with the fact that you kind of have to pick and choose which utilities you can use in specific matchups. For instance, if you're fighting Biohazard, you pretty much all the time have to stay on your bleed curse. That means you have access to heal, but don't have access to extra damage or power control. And the same way, if you're doing some nodes that constantly get you poisoned, or if you're fighting like Abomination, for instance, you kind of pretty much all the time have to stay in that poison curse to maintain that immunity. So I think that is a definite weakness for Black Widow. And if Suicide Masteries are not involved, I prefer playing Dr. Doom overall. But when you're running Suicide Masteries, then definitely Black Widow Clairvoyant runs with them so much better, and that sustainability is great. The amount of utility she can access is definitely really useful, and I think then with Suicide Masteries, Black Widow Clairvoyant is possibly the best Mystic champion for you to use whilst you are running Suicide Masteries. And definitely love her. I like using her. I definitely look forward to bringing her to AQ as well and testing her out over there. When I have to deal with something like Freezer Burn, it would be interesting to see what she does over there, or some other paths or maps. I also would like to see how she does in Footloose, because in theory she should have an alright kind of a time, maybe. But all in all, I definitely want to get a lot of testing done. And now in this fight, this path, we are using Black Widow Clairvoyant against the Resistor path, which is actually kind of extremely funny place where to use it, because We get all of these debuffs that debuff immunity buffs that kind of prevents them from getting all the resistor buffs. Also, whenever they do get any resistor buffs, then at the same point we are getting more and more of these charges, so we are able to get to our like level 2s extremely quickly and cycle through them. Now obviously there are better options for fighting resistor nodes, but at the same time this is just a great amount of fun. It's a really interesting and enjoyable. So if you do not have any of the cheese tactics available and you are facing opponents with a lot of buffs, then Black Widow Clairvoyant is definitely extremely fun champion to kind of like play about with, gain this power so incredibly quickly, cycle your special attacks, so on and so forth. I probably didn't play her the best so far there, but it was still a great amount of fun, and that is one of the things that you definitely have to realize about Black Widow Clairvoyant. It's just kind of interesting how you can switch from effect to effect. It does take some practice. I still haven't like gotten it all down. I'm sure there are going to be people in comment section saying you should have done that, you should do this, and eventually I'll get there. But at the same time, I just want to say that it is extremely fun to keep kind of like switching in between these modes and effects. Pick your utilities, pick your like when you need to heal, when you want to do more extra damage, when you just want to spam special attack to special attack to special attack, at the same time able to kind of like nullify all of the buffs. And I think that is extremely kind of also useful quality she has, that she can get rid of so many buffs throughout the fight that it's quite ridiculous. And yeah, at the same time obviously Mystic Dispersion is the thing. You can get a lot of power back fast, and it's overall just quite a satisfying, interesting fight. Those level 2 animations are also quite cool. It looks like a spider is just slashing away at somebody, and it's quite enjoyable, I would say. And I'm definitely extremely happy that I did manage to pull Black Widow Clairvoyant as a 6-star champion. And as it so happens, pretty much the champions that I enjoy most, Warlock, Nick Fury, and Black Widow Clairvoyant, I have managed to pull a 6-stars this year, so I'm super happy about that. And last couple of fights that I'm going to be showing here is going to be on Icarus node, just to showcase that she can actually abuse that Icarus node quite a bit as well, because her effects, her healing effect and a few others are based on how much damage she can do. And additionally, she can completely explode on those Furies because of that multi-hit level 2. So what you can do is kind of slowly but surely build to that level 2, make sure that you don't get too many Fury buffs. And now that you are at level 2, just check out the damage at last hit for like 30 something K, and keep in mind that that was like an 8-hit special attack, and that fight was over pretty much as soon as we got to that level 2. But I think that will be more or less for it for today's video. There's only one fight left. So do let me know, what do you guys think about my latest rank up? She's my 6th rank 2 champion. I am personally definitely satisfied with my choice. Would you guys have ranked her up? Do you have a Black Widow Clairvoyant? Do you enjoy playing her? What kind of like neat tips and tricks can you give me? What should I showcase in kind of like my bigger review video if I decided to remake it? But yeah, that will do for today. I hope you guys have fantastic holidays. If you like the video, hit that like, sub button, all the buttons, and I'm gonna catch you guys soon. See ya.